Welcome to yet another episode of Nuskas with Anushka, where every story matters and every connection counts. Today, we have a special guest on board. She is the force behind Study IQ Judiciary's massive success on YouTube with an impressive 7.5 million subscribers. As an experienced educator in the edtech space, she has been guiding students through judiciary exams since 2020. With expertise in multiple subjects like family law, criminal laws, and the Indian Contract Act, she breaks down complex concepts into digestible bites. From classes of Symbiosis Law School, Pune, to the screens of aspiring law professionals, her journey is truly inspiring. Let's dive into the world of law, education, and digital innovation with none other than Arjita Chaturvedi. Welcome, Arjita, on Nuskas with Anushka.
Thank you, Anushka, for that lovely introduction.
My pleasure. I'm extremely happy that you could join us today for this episode.
Thank you. I'm very much glad to be doing this.
Lovely. So, Arjita, tell us about how did you start mentoring the judiciary aspirants and what's been your rewarding experience with that?
Anushka, I graduated in 2019, and once I graduated, I was working in Bombay High Court with a litigating law firm. Uh, that was the job I got through my placement. But then eventually down the line, like 3, 4 months down the line, I realized that I'm not thoroughly enjoying it, and that's probably not my calling. Now, teaching is something I had always enjoyed since my childhood. I had always thought about doing it, but I had planned it in this way that probably I'll be doing it in the later part of my years of my life. So, but maybe I realized I should be doing it now itself. Maybe I'll enjoy doing that. And that's how I left my litigation job and I switched to the edtech industry in the year 2020.
Okay. So, when you were shifting and in this transition, was there a special qualification that you needed to, start coaching the judiciary aspirants, or was your law degree and the LLM degree just fine for it?
So it's like that initially when I switched to the edtech industry, I was mentoring and teaching students for law entrance exams. Now, because I myself had appeared for CLAT exam and the Symbiosis Law entrance exam, I had given them. So that obviously helps you, in getting these jobs because you have gone through the journey of that aspirant. You know the issues and the problems that an aspirant faces, so obviously, that's a priority that any employer or any recruiter looks whenever they are hiring you for any of a teaching role.
Mhm.
And similar thing happened with me for judiciary exams as well, for mentoring them as well. That since I had prepared for it, and they feel that somebody like that sort of a person would know the issues and the areas that a student struggles in. So obviously, matlab, I would not say affirmatively that definitely preparing for these exams is a must to get hired for these jobs. But yeah, it acts as a brownie point because the recruiter and the employer will feel that you will be able to understand the students a bit better in their journey, preparation journey.
Right, since you've gone through that journey, so
Yeah,
you have
yeah,
that kind of experience with that.
yeah.
Great, that's great. So we know that you are really out there on the YouTube, and you also have a lot of Instagram reels where you talk about these social legal issues. So how do you stay updated on these latest judicial developments and the trends that are going on?
So there are multiple websites actually that I follow. So my day starts this way that every morning I wake up, I have my breakfast, and then I open up all these various news channels, and I open up various websites like Live Law, Bar and Bench is there. There are many short-term websites also like Live Law and Bar and Bench, and then there are multiple good news channels as well, like Times of India, India Today. So my day basically goes like this only, that I'm making videos, but throughout my 24-hour day, I'm beach mein also checking for any important updates. Because a larger part of my role here is like a journalist. For example, any landmark judgment or any landmark news comes in, it's better and it's preferred that you are there on the YouTube within half an hour of it. That, so you have the first movers advantage, that you are the first one to bring it out to the audience.
Right.
So it's like a really on the toes kind of a job, that you have to be updated with everything that is happening around you.
Right. So continuously on the go. I mean, you
Yeah, like a news journalist only, that you have to be updated with what's happening around in the legal sphere.
right. That's great, and I'm sure you must be really on your toes, and it must be really, I mean, difficult for you to manage even your coaching and also being, up to date with whatever is happening. Right. So,
Yeah, it is difficult, yeah.
right. Yeah. So, tell us, like, what are those most common challenges, faced by the judiciary aspirants, and how do you help them overcome these challenges?
I would say the commonly faced challenges are that they don't know how to manage their time.
Okay.
That I would say is the first thing, because when a person is preparing for judiciary exams, you have like multiple law subjects to study in one go. Because that particular exam is asking you multiple law subjects, right? And every law subject has its own importance. Some are more important, some are least important. So they don't know how to prioritize that. That's the first problem that they face. The second problem I feel is that a lot of law colleges in India are not justifying the education that they are providing in the law colleges.
Okay.
So a lot of time we have students like they have graduated, they are done with their 3 year or 5 year law course, but they don't have basic conceptual understanding, which is, these are things that are basic taught to you in your law college. You are expected to know that. So it's like even after you have done your law graduation, you are standing at ground zero. You're standing, back to your square one.
Okay.
So that's like, it's almost like your law graduation is failing to help you entirely in your judiciary exam preparation. So that is another problem I feel, because I think there are multiple law colleges opening up in the country, and students don't know which are the good ones, which are the bad ones. So this is something they realize in the later part of their year. So this is, I feel, the second problem
Okay.
which they face.
So, since you know that this is a really common problem, like that is being faced by most of them, so have you ever thought of, putting it out on your social media channels to, cater to this problem so that whoever comes in next as a batch into your coaching center, you don't face these
I
problems with
always
them?
do, like I always tell students, like whenever any student asks me that where can they do their law graduation from, my obvious first answer is recommending them the best of the national universities, the best of the government colleges and private colleges. But at the same time, a lot of them I feel don't want to make that effort. Like at the same time, they want a good law education, legal education, but they don't want to take that extra step. They don't want to put in the effort of preparing for law entrance exams. Or some have this constraint that they don't want to move out of their hometown, they don't want to go away from their parents. And some majorly have a financial constraint also, because if it's a good college, they are charging you equally well. And some are like, we can't
Yeah.
afford to spend that much on legal education. So I try my best uh, to be able to recommend them the good colleges that they should be going to. But I think there are certain things which are even beyond my help, beyond my control.
Right. True that. So, can you share with us a success story of a mentee who's passed out from your coaching and is really successful as a judicial officer in their career?
Uh, See, if I talk about in terms of success stories, it's like a lot of our the judiciary exams which are conducted in our country are done in three stages. There's prelims, there's mains, and then there is interview. Now, the downside with judiciary exams is that they're not conducted in a proper cycled way. This entire process of prelims to interview sometimes even takes about 2.5, 3 years as well. So right now we have some of our students who have cleared prelims, they have cleared mains, and we have even one who cleared her interview last year, last to last year. She became, or she got an All India rank one in UP Judiciary. So mostly what I've seen is that a lot of these people, a lot of the mentees who have cleared exams, they have come from difficult backgrounds. They have had some or the other sort of difficulties. We have this another guy also who cleared Punjab judiciary and who has some physical disabilities. So they, some of them come from not so that great of financial backgrounds and everything. But yeah, I mean, they are trying to make it well. And the good part about them is that they never use their weakness against their preparation. Like they never cribbed about all these things, you know, I have physical disability or I do not come from a financial background and everything. Rather, they use them to their power. They were like, okay, and that's what I always tell my students also, ki, this is how the situation is. You can't do anything to change, you can't do anything about it except try to change it. And you'll only be able to change it when you do something, you excel in your life, you excel in your career. So that is something I've seen in all the people who have cleared judiciary exams, that they have fought against all the circumstances rather than accepting the reality of what it is.
Wow, that's such a motivational story that you shared here. And definitely, yes, I think things which are beyond our control, there's no
Exactly.
point of cribbing about it. Something is not in your hands, that's just going to stop you. So rather
Yeah.
take the opportunity and move forward. And I'm glad there are people who are doing it
Yeah.
and it's paying them off. The hard work is paying them off, definitely. That's amazing. So there's one part of you as a, as a coach who's actually coaching these aspirants, and there's one part where you are
Yeah.
creating content on YouTube. So what drove you to create these kind of legal educational content on YouTube?
So it's like when we started this channel in 2022, that is Study IQ Judiciary. It's not like we are the first ones to be
Yeah.
stepping into this industry. There were obviously prior to us multiple judiciary channels working, but they had a different way of functioning. You know, they'll be teaching those same law concepts. Those they'll be only touching those core law areas which are already taught to you in law colleges. Matlab, they were not doing something new on YouTube. Uh, but then we and my team, we realized the vacuum for that on the YouTube channel, that nobody is covering the current legal issues that are going on. And you know, that was a whole big vacuum, that whatever they are studying for their exams, you try to link it with what is happening currently in the world or currently in India, and that is how you try to put it to them. So that is the approach that we followed from the very start. You know, that we started covering the socio-legal issues. We started covering Supreme Court judgments. Even we cover a lot of High Court judgments are also very much a landmark, very much transformative. So we started covering, you know, the current affair events that are happening around you. Try to find the legal issues in that and try to link it with your study. That is what we started doing, and I guess that is what made us the fastest growing judiciary channel on YouTube and the highest one with the subscribers.
Wow, firstly, hearty
Thank you.
congratulations on that victory. You guys have actually hit the spot, because we also, as law students, when we go back and see during our times, we also somewhere felt that, what we are studying, where are we going to actually
Yeah,
apply it into the real world? So there was that, as you said, there was that vacuum where we did not understand that jurisprudence
apply
पढ़ रहे
होगा,
हैं तो
right.
कहाँ apply होगा exactly, you have to put it. So I'm sure, yeah, you all are doing great on that front, and that is definitely the need of the hour, I would say. So, since we're talking about your social legal aspects of the content creation, what are such issues do you think which are really critical right now for people to understand? So, there are issues where people are not aware of. So, are there any such current issues where you think that you need to educate people on or give them awareness about?
I feel there is a lack of awareness with respect to some very basic things that happen around us. For example, I have seen that people really get traumatized or scared when police stops them. Police officials, they stop them or they try to beat them up, unnecessary raise hand on them, or try to harass them in any way. And people, a lot of times, I've felt that that is justified, that is okay, because they are a public servant, they are a police official, they can do anything with you. And this is one area that we have tried to cover multiple times and through multiple angles. We have tried to cover it on our YouTube channel as well, that that is absolutely not right. A police officer, for no reason, they cannot harass you, they cannot raise hand on you, they cannot ask you randomly to call up your parents or make you talk to them, they cannot just take you randomly to a police station as well. So this is one, so I feel that there are some basic, I think basic things which happen around us. We don't know rules and regulations about that. For example, I've seen couples get a lot of times harassed for sitting in public places, for hanging out in public places, for being a little intimate. Again, they're not doing anything wrong. But people think, if people around you create an issue about that, they think we have done something wrong when actually have not done anything wrong. So these are some issues that I feel, which surround us in our basic life, but people don't really bother on actually knowing ki what is right and legally what is right and what is wrong in that.
True. And also, I feel with the system that we have currently, even I don't know, I might be wrong on this, but even with the awareness, there are so many other, I would say, aspects to it that, it's as a normal public, you
Yeah,
can't do much about it. I mean, you have to like kind of give into the situation to, save you out smoothly and not
right.
create any more ruckus. There are a lot of concepts which are really tough for the normal public to understand in terms of like the legalities and the concepts behind it. So how do you make sure when you're creating this content on YouTube or for that matter Instagram, how do you make sure that you break these complex legal concepts into some bits which are really accessible and engaging for a wider audience?
So I'm glad you asked that, because that is something I frequently get the sort of comment and reply on my YouTube videos majorly, that that is something my audience really loves me for, that I try to make them things understand in a very simplified manner. And the reason I feel I'm able to do that so well is because at a point of time I've been a law student and I never received it.
Yeah.
Because when you are teaching somebody, or even when you are, explaining anything to anybody, I think of them as a person with zero knowledge. Imagine it's like you're teaching a KG student who absolutely has no idea. So you obviously know a lot of things, you are very much knowledgeable, but you can't follow the same approach when you are teaching someone, and you can't go with this obvious thing कि अच्छा आपको तो पता ही होगा क्योंकि मुझे तो पता ही है. Obviously they don't know about it, so you need to build it from ground zero for them. And you need to get like all basic about it, as if you are teaching a 3 year or 4 year old student, ABCD or 1 2 3 4. So what would be the approach when you try to teach a kid? Obviously you don't expect the kid to know anything, so you try to break it down, you try to simplify things as much as possible for them. And I feel legal field is something, especially if you're teaching a law student, it's very easy for them to understand obviously things. But a larger part of my audience that I have
Yeah.
on my YouTube channel are also general people who have nothing to do with law. They have not studied law, but for general legal awareness, they follow my channel. And if I try to use that legal terminology with them, or that legal way of teaching, they'll not understand anything. So I try to make the language simple for them. I try to give them a basic history, basic idea about what is this issue about, why is this happening in our country. So that way I feel कि पहले उनको कहानी बताओ, then bring them to the legal issues, and then tell them that what is happening, so they are able to relate to it better. So I think of them as if it's a KG student who has absolute zero idea about what is happening.
Yeah, it's like a KG student that you're telling a story, and that's how. So basically, like, as we know, storytelling is a lot
Mhm.
in fad right now, and a lot of people are adopting that approach because it's easier for to
Right.
reach a wider audience that way. Can you tell us a particular series or a impactful video as such which you've created for Study IQ and which did like great numbers on YouTube in terms of your target audience or in terms of your subscribers, likes, comments,
I
anything?
have like multiple videos. Some of them have crossed 2 million or 1 million 1 million views or 2 million views. And like I said, a lot of those videos are about general legal things which are happening around. Like, for example, there still is this madrasas jo hai UP mein. That is a issue that is going on in our country right
Hmm.
now, that our madrasas okay, like should they be allowed to run in our country or should they be not allowed to run in our country? Again, that's a dispute of fundamental rights and constitution that comes in. So I made a video on that that went really well. There is this video about extramarital affair. Now, a lot of people think that extramarital affair is punishable in our country, but they don't know that it's not. So that video has crossed like about 2 million. Talking about core teaching, so recently we have had these new criminal laws which have come in. So I'm teaching one of the criminal
Yeah.
laws, that is Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, that has replaced Indian Penal Code on YouTube. So that particular video has been doing really well because I was the first one to start it on YouTube. Nobody was teaching that law subject on YouTube. So I was the first one. So I got that first mover advantage as well. So that series is something that has been running up very well. And a great student base also have built through that because a lot of students like that series. And it was of great help to them at a time when they had absolutely no idea about what these new laws are about.
Right. So how much time, you have to dedicate to first you yourself, you need to understand the whole law because it's really comparatively very new. And then, put it into a really simplified language where, a wider audience can understand.
It's honestly,
Generally,
it's a whole day's task. Like सुबह से लेके रात तक वो हो जाता है because I'm in a day I'm making like 5 6 videos every day. So some
right.
videos are of a shorter length. They are 10 15 minutes. Now even that is a task that you have to sum up an
Yeah,
entire issue into 10 15 minutes. Then there are some videos which are long, which are 30 40 minutes. Now you have to entirely research about it. So that's a completely
hmm,
subjective thing. But yeah, it takes a lot of your day. Uh, a major of your time goes into working on these videos only.
true. So, as we know that the Indian judiciary is definitely facing a lot of pressing challenges like delayed justice, judicial independence, or and accountability, or underpaid judges for that matter,
Yeah.
corruption also. So, through your coaching and mentoring, how do you make sure that these aspirants, can overcome these pressing challenges, or probably how do you make your I mean, make them and make these aspirants basically adapt to these challenges when they move out and face the role of a judicial officer.
So, see, there are certain challenges that are actually not even beyond there because that is not something that is in one person's control. Like we say, pendency of cases in India, that is a collective thing that is happening. One person can't do anything about it, not even one person can change it. Similarly, like less of paying to the judges, corruption, and everything. I really feel that these have become like so larger of an issue that telling one person will not help much about it. Uh, but there are certain other issues as well which are into the judiciary, and lately they have started coming up that as a judicial officer, judges have started putting up their personal opinion when you are not supposed to do that. You are supposed to entirely judge an issue on the legal aspects. From the legal point of view, you are supposed to tell if it's right or it's wrong. You have to give your judgment and you have to just shut it up. This is something even Supreme Court has said recently multiple times to a lot of judges in our country, that you are unnecessary trying to put in your personal views and personal opinion when they are totally unwarranted for, they're not needed over there. And this is something I've always told to in my multiple YouTube videos as well, whenever I've covered such sort of videos, that when you become judicial officers, your personal opinion, your personal views, you have to keep them aside. I mean, for example, marital rape is right as per you, it's wrong as per you. Extramarital affair is right as per you, wrong as per you. You can have personal views and opinions on that, but you have to keep that aside when you're working as a judicial officer. And as an officer, you're only supposed to see what is right as per the law, what is wrong as per the law. You have to apply the law and you have to move on to the next case. Like nobody is there to listen to your personal views and opinion. So this is something I've told always to all my mentees. And one thing is that lately there have been instances where judges have been super insensitive with women and women issues, or they have like really had preformed opinions about women, and they have made like weird comments. Like recently one judge said that a widow in our country need not put up any makeup, she did not wear good clothes. So again, that's a very I would say wrong comment on the part of a judicial officer. So again, that is one thing that I've taught all my mentees, to be like super sensitive with children and women in our country when these cases come up in front of you.
Right, and I think with this, there's a lot to do with your conditioning also, like
Yeah.
how you've been conditioned in your childhood, what has been your family background, your family circumstances. So a lot of that is also to do, but it is definitely a challenge for a judicial office
Both
also to,
of them, yeah.
separate the two identities where, yeah, that's definitely a challenge. So, I mean, do you have any particular like classes or particular sessions where you take care of these particular aspects rather than just the technicalities of the subject?
Like I said, ki as in when such kind of topics come up, whenever I'm taking a session on that on YouTube, obviously informing ki such kind of thing has happened, then I also tell in that particular session only. Like recently, there was a case where a Calcutta High Court judge told a girl who was a sexual offense victim, saying that women should learn to control their sexual urges. And again, that is something Supreme Court got really upset about, that this was not something that was called for in that. So now when I covered that particular video and I made a session on that, I obviously covered what Supreme Court said, what High Court had said. And then in the same video, I said ki I completely agree with what Supreme Court has said, that as a judge, that's absolutely not your part. And that's something totally uncalled for. That is not what you are there for. You are nobody to tell anybody's daughter or girl to learn to control their sexual urges. So whenever I make such kind of videos, in within that only I put in my personal opinions.
Right, great. So, how do you think that the judiciary can better address such social justice issues?
Uh, I think lately there has been a lot of conflict happening between the legislature and the judiciary in our country. There are a lot of social justice issues. For example, the same-sex marriage issue that happened last year. Now, that is something I totally felt should have been legalized, just like same-sex relationships were in 2017. Uh, but I feel that. I mean, I found it very, you can say, hypocritic that you can legalize same-sex relationships, bringing a change in the law, but you can't legalize same-sex marriage, saying that we can't change the law, that is not up to us to do. So I feel that there are times where judiciary oversteps themselves, but the places where they need to overstep themselves, they don't do that. They surely can bring those changes. Uh, for example, right now I was just taking a session on the marital rape issue. Now I know how the government feels about the marital rape issue. They totally feels that they should not criminalize it, and that will destroy the institution of marriage that we have in our country. So more or less, I feel I I have a like intuition that how the hearing is going to happen in the Supreme Court. But I really feel that these are the kind of cases, because I majorly feel that that is a case where women rights are getting totally violated. And these are the instances and these are the kind of issues where the judiciary has to step up, and they have to take the lawmaking thing in their hand, and they have to uh, work towards these kind of issues, like see really what is right and wrong and take action on that.
Yeah, and I think now with the changing trends, people have become even more
Yeah.
sensitive to such things. So, I mean, uh, rather than waiting for people to retaliate and cause all
Yeah,
that rebel around, it's better that it's high time that they only step up and take some good
right.
actions regarding it. So, what are I know that BNS, like you said, has recently come up replacing IPC. So, are there any other such significant legal developments in India in this year or the past year?
There have been some significant developments. For example, if I talk about the maintenance provision to women, uh, there up till now there was a big legal dispute in our country that Muslim women can't get maintenance. If you look at a Hindu woman, she can take if she wants lifelong maintenance from her husband. But Muslim women did not have that provision. They could only, once their marriage ends, they could only take it up to next 3 months. But after that, there was complete no, like women were husbands were not paying maintenance to the women. So recently, there was a judgment where it was said by Justice BB Nagaratna, who will supposedly be the first women chief justice of our country. So she said, "Ki no, like maintenance rights are equal; they are completely secular. There is nothing about Hindu, Muslim, Christian, or Sikh or anything in that. Like every woman, we have to make sure that every woman is protected from destitution. She's getting the basic amenities, and every woman has a right of maintenance. So I feel that was a very powerful landmark judgment that was passed. Similarly, if you talk about this issue of Bilkis Bano, that was there. I mean, 11 people who raped her, who murdered her entire family, they were let go by the government, but that decision was overturned by the Supreme Court. So, that I feel was another major transformative judgment that was passed.
Right. Like, what are the primary objectives of, if we go back to the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita law, what are such primary objectives that, align with India's judicial system currently?
See, talking about Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, I mean, with Indian judiciary, the subject that more aligns is the Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita, which is the actual procedure about how things run into court. But if we talk about Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, the things that they have focused upon is obviously there were a lot of offenses, a lot of crime that we did not need anymore in our country. So they got rid of that. Second is like Amit Shah, Home Minister, had also said in the Parliament while introducing these laws that we want to make women and child our priority. Now that is something that was not there in Indian Penal Code, so they made that a priority in Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita. Similarly, a lot of things were there which should have been made an offense long back in our country, but they were not. Like if you talk about chain snatching, purse snatching issues, or if you talk about terrorism, now that was not there. So these are some offenses which were long to be recognized. They have recognized that in Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. And they got rid of some of the redundant crimes and offenses which Britishers thought were needed, but Indian government was like, we don't need them anymore in the system.
Right. So, does it also have any, does it also talk about what offenses are there for rape? Because recently we've been hearing
Yeah.
so many rape cases, and I don't think the kind of justice that needs to be served is being served. So, what are your thoughts
They
on that?
have retained, I mean, what I rape provisions were there in Indian Penal Code. They have retained the same thing, except there has been a change. When we talk about the offense of rape, there is a recent angle that has come up in that, which is rape on false promise of marriage, where a guy promises you that he'll marry you, but then and then he makes then he makes physical relation with you on the pretext of that promise, and then once he has made that physical relation, he goes back on his promise and he does not marry you. Now that was a legal problem that came up lately in our country, and they have tried to get rid of that. I mean, for that they have created a separate provision, a separate offense in our Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita.
Okay, but in rape in
There are
general,
no as
there
such
are no as such
changes.
provisions. Okay. But like, don't you think these are some pressing issues? And we, like, when you open a newspaper every morning, There's this one news which is
Yeah.
constant every day. And it is actually really disturbing to read. I mean, you don't want to read, but you can't help yourself then reading and, sympathizing. It's what else can you do? It's just about sympathizing because the government is not ready
Yeah.
to do anything about it. So, I mean, what's your take as a, like, since you are into this whole field and you are teaching people, the people who are going to be the future of India. So, I mean, what's your take on that?
Uh, See, I feel there was, in fact, this matter that was raised up in Supreme Court as well. That I think we are done with making laws more and more strict. We have tried doing that. In fact, we have been doing that since 2013, since the Nirbhaya issue happened. But it was raised in the Supreme Court as well that I think the major thing that we need to do is we need to start making people aware about it. All you have been doing so far is making laws more and more strict, trying to make the punishment more and more severe. Clearly, that is not helping. We saw that in 2013, we saw that in 2018, and we saw recently with the Kolkata rape case also that happened. So this was a very good point that was raised up in Supreme Court that maybe we need to start making people aware. We need to start teaching boys and girls in school about these kind of laws, and we need to maybe start to bring in the public awareness about it.
Okay. Do you think that it's going well in that direction and do we have such educated people who are going to absorb the kind of awareness that we want to spread around the subject?
I think they would, but I feel the government will actually have to take up the step. Like basically, this proposal that was laid in Supreme Court through a PIL was this that maybe we need to start teaching rape laws from the school itself. We should make it a part of the school syllabus, except apart from teaching good touch and bad touch. You need to go a bit more beyond that, so that a girl also realizes when something happening with her is wrong, and the people also know that there are because a very good point that was raised in that is that you are making punishments more severe, but the common man in India, they don't even know that we have such severe punishments. So what will deter them from not committing rape? So once you put it into their psyche that you can get punished severely for committing the offense of rape, maybe they'll abstain themselves from not doing that. But if they don't even know that there are such heinous punishments and they can get punished for that, why would they deter themselves from doing something like that? Or why would they think twice before something like that? So I thought that was a very good point that you are making punishment severe, but except the law of fraternity, nobody else knows that those punishments are that severe. So that it should occur into a person's mind once ki acha, it can go that bad for me if I'm convicted.
Right, but I don't think we have such precedents for people to
Yeah,
be aware about. Yeah, so for that also we need that kind of step from the judiciary or the government to create such precedents for people to not make this happen. Like it's become a recurring habit now for people, and people are just going
true,
on and on and on.
true.
There's no stop to it. So I really hope that there is some set precedent where people actually get aware and understand what
They
punishments
can put.
they can attract. Yeah. So moving on, Arjita, what's your special nuska that you would give to the aspiring lawyers or the judiciary candidates?
There would be two. One is, like I told towards the start as well, that I really feel that people, when they are studying in college, they are not just doing it for the sake of studying, but they are also in touch. They are actually learning. They are getting to know basic concepts. I really feel that law students really underestimate that. They feel that once they graduate, things are going to be all hunky dory for them, and these things will not be a hurdle for them, but they clearly are a hurdle no matter what career option they choose. So they really need to work on their conceptual knowledge, have basic clarity about law when they are studying. And second is, I really feel that no matter what you wish to do after you graduate, but while you are doing your LLB, and even after you graduate, you do your LLB, you should be in touch about what is happening around you. Some or the other way, it really helps and it goes a long way in making a difference in your career life or your personal life or your professional life.
Right. That was some amazing tip that you've given to all the budding judiciary aspirants or the legal candidates. So, apart from these technical concepts or the technical knowledge, do you feel that the judiciary aspirants must also learn certain soft skills like effective communication or like empathy, or even for that matter, how to make that first impression when you're getting.
Definitely. I've felt that with a lot of aspirants that I've met or I've seen, uh, I feel they really underestimate certain things like a good dressing sense, good language, good command over English. Maybe you don't require that English, but I feel that knowing that or having a basic idea about it can really help them in their preparation as well. So I feel basic command over language, basic command over communication skills, be able to communicate with people, not stuttering a lot while you're talking, building up your confidence level. I feel these things can help them a lot. And of course, good dressing sense, like, looking like clean, hygienic, not just like personal hygiene, but your outer hygiene when a person looks at you. So I feel these things they should focus on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
basically how you present
yeah,
yourself in front of people. And that's how it gets you
true.
also confident. When you
You
feel
feel you
confident
look
from
confident
inside,
outside.
you
Yeah.
look confident outside. Right. Great. So, as a educator of the legal system, do you feel that some aspects of India's judicial systems must be changed?
Uh, I think I would say the concept of judicial overreach, or you can also say judicial activism, that has been happening recently.
Okay.
It has happened in you say be it the lower courts or be it the higher courts in our country. There have been instances where judiciary has tried to overstep in, like issues which are not even in front of you, issues which don't even require you to decide on. You still gave a judgment on that. You still decided on that. Like for example, recently it happened with Supreme Court that there is this SC/ST reservation issue that was going on, and now this particular thing that Supreme Court gave its judgment on was not something that was pending before them, but yet they said that how we have this creamy layer concept in OBCs, that people who are OBC but they have good family annual income, they do not get the reservation of OBC. Now this thing is not there in SCs and STs, but yet Supreme Court said, probably we should create this for SCs and ST as well. Now this is something which this was a legal point that Supreme Court made, but this was not even pending before them. This was not something that people even came to for
Okay.
Supreme Court, but they yet made an observation on that. And because of that, there was a lot of chaos in the country that followed after the Supreme Court's judgment. And that only calmed down when central government had to make a clarification issue on that, that don't worry, no matter what Supreme Court said, we are not going to act upon that. So I feel that there is an issue of judicial overreach that has been happening recently that probably needs to get changed.
Great. So, I mean, with a legacy of pending cases, judiciary, I think, should be
Actually,
focusing
something
on
for you.
covering that rather than, yeah, true. Great. So, what's your vision for the future of the legal education in India?
Uh, I feel what my vision was recently, the Bar Council of India has tried implementing that very well. My issue was that the law education in law colleges is not being governed properly. Students take in admission, they don't go, nobody's checking up on their attendance, and that's one of the major reasons people don't have any idea about the law that they study in college. So, be it that we have had people with bad criminal backgrounds coming into the legal fraternity. So these were certain things that I had a vision for, and it happened very recently. In fact, last week only, that Bar Council of India has started taking in steps for this. That maintaining proper attendance in college, so that at least students are attending college. If they attend college, they'll also study. They'll also focus on the concepts they need to learn. So that is happening. Criminal background is something that they are refraining on. that such kind of people should not be coming into the legal industry, because at the end of the day, you are trying to secure law and justice for other people and not yourself be a part of it.
Right.
So this is what my vision. I mean, I was thinking for past few years, but I think it's finally happening. It's getting implemented.
Wow, it must be really thrilling to see your vision
Yeah.
come to life. So, do they also take care of? I mean, attendance is one part, yes, but you need to have the right kind of faculty. I mean, the quality of teaching should also be like really good for people to
That
understand.
is something they have not yet started working on, but that's an issue that they very well are aware of, because this is something this which has been raised multiple times by even our CGI, even by Supreme Court, that the level of legal education. But at least at the end of the day, I'm happy that okay, they are taking, at least they are trying to improve things one step at a time.
Right.
So maybe this is some these are one of those issues which will they'll come to probably in the next few years.
Well, so I was just curious to know, Arjita, the with the recent case that happened with the coaching centers in Delhi, where there were few people who died in the coaching center. So, I mean, did it really affect your coaching center as well? I mean, I understand that was for
Yeah.
IAS aspirants, but still, as a coach industry, did it affect you as well?
Of course, it did up to an extent, because a lot of coachings, offline coachings are there for judiciary as well, and it's like for anyone and everyone who is planning to go offline in the near future and trying to open up a center in Delhi. Things got very complicated for them, like, and all the already existing institutes, offline institutes which are there in Delhi, they all came under this radar for multiple reasons, like fire safety and ventilation, the amount of area that you have, or what kind of premise are you running these classes in. So it did get difficult for us also up to an extent, because even we were thinking of opening up an offline institute, but again it has got it under a lot of safety and procedural issues, like a lot of compliances and a lot of paperwork, red tapeism, you can say, it has come under now. So not directly, but yeah, up to an extent it has affected us.
Right. Must be really, tough to cater to all of these requirements, but it's definitely necessary, I feel, because at the end of the day, if you,
It is, and it's good. I mean, these things are a bit of an hassle, but they are being. I feel they are being done for all the right causes, because the people who are the culprits in these kind of cases, who are taking people's life at very cheap stakes, so at least they need to get punished and they need to get serious about these things. So I feel in the long run it's being done for all the good reasons.
true, I absolutely agree with you on that. And so it's been a really power-packed episode and so much of knowledge and
Yeah.
insights that you've given us. So, and I'm sure that your schedule must be really packed from morning, since you said since the day you start, it's with the
Yeah.
newspaper, with the news, and till the end of the day. So, I mean, how do you stay motivated, and what inspires you in your work to keep having that motivating factor and keep going for the whole
It's
day?
mostly the messages that I receive on my Telegram and the Instagram handle. Every time I receive a message from a student, and the best part about my job profile is that it's not only the people who are from law background are messaging me. I sometimes receive message from somebody who is in the army. Yesterday, I received message from a surgeon who is working. So, when these other, I mean, people from across all the fraternities, when they message me about some video or some class of mine that they saw, they tell me that it helped them in so and so manner. So that is something that, really keeps me going. And like there has also been a few of the personal instances that, sometimes when I go into like normal market areas or normal hospitals, and it's like people you don't even expect they recognize you. For example, there was a compounder who once recognized me in an hospital because he saw some video of mine. There was this time when my parents were traveling in the train, and there was this couple sitting in front of them, and that couple was watching my video. So these are the kind of things. I mean, completely unexpected surprise kind of events. You don't know when they come, when they don't come. But yeah, like these kind of things stick with you, and they keep you going. That, in somebody or the other person's life, you're making some impact. You're affecting them, and they like listening to you. They like watching you.
I love that. I mean, yes, the instances that you shared, I'm sure they are, I mean, you just feel so
Yeah,
satisfied and content with, at the end of the day, what you're doing. It's definitely
yeah,
impacting, influencing
yeah.
someone in the right ways, and you're enriching lives. So I'm sure it must be so
Right.
satisfying for you. So let's come to a fun segment where we get to know a little bit more about you. So tell me, if you weren't a lawyer or if you weren't a legal educator, what would you be? What's that other alternative career option that you would have taken up?
After my 12th, there was a time when I wanted to get into the hotel management industry. I wanted to become an air hostess. So I feel if not law or this thing, edtech, I would have been probably been doing that. Like I would have been something in the hotel management industry, air hostess or something like that. So yeah.
Great. What's your favorite book or a podcast, related to law or the social justice reforms? If you love to watch or if you would love to tell people to, follow or watch.
To be honest, lately I haven't gotten the time to read up a book or go up to a podcast or something, because a larger part of my life is be on YouTube and watch other people's YouTube, what they are doing on YouTube and what other things are coming in. Uh, but I can do, and I mean, whatever free time that I get, I try to watch the movies which have been made on some or the other, legal issue that has happened in our country. Uh, I'm not sure how much of a good suggestion this would be, but I recently watched a movie, Sector 36, on Netflix, which is based on Nithari killings which have happened in our country. Uh, it's definitely not a very, you can say, pleasing movie to watch, but I really liked it because that is one legal issue, crime issue that you can say happened in our country that I have closely followed about whatever developments, legal developments that have happened in that. So if somebody is up for a bit of like gross instances here and there, I can recommend them to watch that movie.
Okay. I have also not watched it yet. Didn't feel really appealing
Yeah,
at the instance, but since you said it, I'm surely it's gonna be up my
yeah.
watch list next. How do you unwind after a long day of teaching and content creation?
Uh, Mostly, I would say putting up like some series or something to watch. I mean, because unwinding up is also that if I go back home and once I'm done with the day, I again open and I sit with my laptop and I again try to see if there was some current affair event that happened today that I missed by any chance, or I should have covered that. I should have made a video on that. So honestly speaking, I have very bad work-life balance. But yeah, usually it is that where I'm like, okay, I can take, maybe I can relax, I can chill. I go out with my friends. I call up my friends. We go out, some because apart from this, I'm a big foodie. I love exploring new places and restaurants, and I've done that also for the past 2 years in Gurgaon a lot. So that I would say that, for relaxing, I'll find out some new restaurant or joint that has opened up or probably has like good reviews. And if I haven't tried that, so that's where I go to like unwind myself.
So, Arjita, thank you so much for giving us such valuable insights. I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show, and your passion for law, education is
Thank you so
absolutely
much.
contagious. Thank you for inspiring our audience and sharing your remarkable journey. We wish you continued success with Study IQ Judiciary
Thank
and
you.
beyond. So, to all our listeners, remember that education and innovation go hand in hand. So keep learning, growing, and pushing those boundaries. I hope you enjoyed this episode and gained valuable takeaways. Thank you for tuning in to Nuskas with Anushka. Join us next time for more inspiring conversations and valuable insights from experts in their fields. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and follow the page and spread the word. To know more about Study IQ, Judiciary, and Arjitas page, do check out the link below. And until next time, stay curious and stay receptive. Thank you.